Hello everyone, today I am taking a bit of a break from my larger whip to work on this smaller one that I started a week ago, but clearly haven't gotten that far. I have just been referring to this one as the Lofi Astronaut / Neon Astronaut. There's actually 3 separate diamond paintings on this canvas, but this one by itself is, the actual image is 25 by 35 centimeters. It's round, acrylic, with 29 colors. Though I don't know if this image actually uses the 29 colors, because the 29 refers to all 3 of them. And they all have a similar color scheme, but this one might not use all of them. Yeah, I had done all of this on the 7th, and then I haven't touched it since then. And it's currently Valentine's Day, so it's been a week since I've done anything with this. And let me just see where I want to start my colors off. As you can see, I'm using a Diamond Club tray because I ended up caving because I was really anxious to try out some of Diamond Art Club's, like, the trays and the pen and, like, just their drill quality and everything. So I bought another mini kit on Amazon, because I have 2 Diamond Art Club, well, now 3. I had 2 Diamond Art Club kits in my house, but those are both birthday presents. My birthday's not till April, so I can't open those and actually start doing them till April. But I really wanted to try Diamond Art Club stuff sooner, so I bought one of the mini kits off Amazon. I bought the Leafs and Trees kits. And so that is how I happen to have a Diamond Art Club tray. My understanding is that they actually make 2 different sizes of trays, and I'm assuming that with the Mini Dazzles, it is the smaller size. But honestly, like, because before, I had both of these trays, and depending on, like, if it was confetti or color blocking that I needed to do, I would switch between them. And, like, this one doesn't look much bigger than this, but it is big enough that, like, at least with my current whips, I haven't really pulled out this at all. And obviously not the smaller one. But if I'm correct in my understanding that they also have a bigger tray, which I'm guessing that plant delivery will have a bigger tray in it, then that might be like the perfect tray for me, honestly. I haven't been using the lid or the stopper at all, but I think that would be useful if I were in the middle of a color, but I kind of hate stopping in the middle of doing a color. That's kind of like a rare thing for me. But the only downside is that with this spout, it does not, like, with this gray tray, like, the spout fully fits into my Tic Tac containers. This spout won't go inside, so I just have to be a bit more careful. It hasn't been as bad as I thought it would be. I just have to be aware of what I'm doing, but it's not that bad. I did notice, because I've done 1 of the 6 of the set that I bought, and my god. Now I guess I understand what everybody's saying about, like, Diamond Art Club having, like, good tolerances, and, like, a good, like, consistency with their drill sizes and their drill field, because I didn't have to push any of my drills around. Like, I was able to just, like, multi-place them, and they all lined up perfectly, and, like, I'll actually pull out the one I did. This is the only one I've done so far. But, oh my gosh, that looks so shiny in this lighting in this camera. And I mean, it looks very shiny. I love the fairy dust drills, and, like, specifically in the darker greens, they look amazing. One thing, though, that I did notice is that the ABs, I know people have talked about, like, resin drills sometimes having, like, a smell to them. So, like, I had been smelling some of the drills as I was, like, kitting up, but, like, I didn't notice anything until I got out the ABs, and the ABs stink so bad. Like, when I was actually doing that canvas, I was like, wow, this is awful, and was, like, practically holding my breath while doing that. I am very sensitive to smells in general. I'm glad it was only the ABs that were like that and not all of them, and that kit only has one AB. And I don't know if that's how all of the ABs from Diamond Art Club are going to come, or if it's just, like, sometimes who knows. But the other thing that I noticed when I was working on that is that, you know, I was working on it, like, in bed. I have, like a breakfast tray, bed tray, lap desk thing. So, like, me and my wife were watching Steven Universe, and she was doing her frog magnets that I got her, and I was working on that. And my wrist started to itch. Like, my wrist and the palm of my hand, like, where I was, like, holding the canvas. And so I'm really hoping it was just a coincidence, and that it was, like, reacting to something else that I had touched earlier in the day. 5, 6, 7s. I've only done one of them. I hope to be able to do another one tonight, and I'm just crossing my fingers that, like, I don't have a reaction again tonight, because if I do, that probably means I'm allergic to either something in the canvas or something in the resin that they use, which would absolutely be awful, because I have plant delivery that I have to do. And if I'm allergic to something like in the canvas or drills from Diamond Art Club, and I have a gigantic canvas to work on, that would just kind of suck. I'd still do it, because that's just who I am. Like, I'm not going to just not do it. But I might be a bit miserable while doing it if that's the case. So, fingers crossed that I was having a reaction to something else that I touched earlier, or but other than that, I really enjoyed doing that little olive branch. It went faster than I thought it would. I mean, I was watching something while doing it, so. Ooh. Let me check. Except now I looked at my phone and got distracted because I realized that my Amazon package arrived. It's a Valentine's present for my wife. And it snowed. It was supposed to arrive yesterday, but it snowed a ton yesterday afternoon into the evening, and so, you know, it got delayed. But I just got a notification that it got delivered. Okay, so this one by itself took me 42 minutes while watching something, so. And I'm guessing that they'll all be pretty similar with how long that those ones take me. You know, obviously if I, like, did one without watching something, it'd go faster, but I specifically got those to do while watching Steven Universe, so I'm guessing they'll all take around that time. It's not bad. Not bad at all. And, see, that's gonna end up being 6 hours. That's like $3. I don't know, I'm trying to do math right now. I'm trying to figure out how much it costs per hour of entertainment. I whenever I'm, like, buying, like, a board game or a video game or something that's like, you know, entertainment, I like to think of it in terms of how much, like, how many hours of entertainment am I going to get out of it versus the cost. And then think about, okay, well, you know, how much is, say, an hour of bowling cost, or how much does it cost to go to the movies, and I don't know, that's what makes the most sense in my brain to decide if something like that is worth it or not. I think I did figure out with both my overhead camera and the face cam, the overhead camera seems to have a timer on it where it won't shoot longer than a 29-minute, 50-second video. The face cam is like 33 minutes and something seconds. And then the overhead camera will just turn itself off at the end. Whereas the face cam will, like, start a new video automatically, but there is a few seconds that it'll, like, skip, which has been annoying for editing videos. So now what I'm doing is I have my tablet out in front of me with a stopwatch on it running, so when I can see, like, when it's getting close to 30 minutes, and I'm, like, a good, like, stopping point in, like, what I'm talking about, I can just stop everything and start it so that I don't have to worry about trying to cut between awkwardly sliced videos or having them turn off on me at inopportune times. So I just need to make sure I pay attention to it. Though I'm hoping I don't have that problem today, because this is... I feel like I would ideally like to be making around 30 to 45 minute WIP chats. At least right now. The hour-and-a-half one didn't do good. The hour one has not done great either. I mean, also just like, I'm brand new to YouTube. Like, I'm not gonna expect much. But I want to try some things out. I'm hoping that, like, at least for me, if I'm going to, like, watch someone new, half an hour seems a lot less intimidating. So hopefully, because I'm on a half-finished section already, and it is a smaller section and more color blocking, this doesn't run forever. And hopefully I'll still have stuff to talk about. I did decide that it was a great idea. Because, okay, I'm a stay-at-home parent of a toddler. I know a lot of people will, like, talk about what's going on in their life in WIP chats. But you know what's going on in my life? Trying to teach a toddler how to use the bathroom. It's not interesting. It's not something that needs to be shared, like, in any sort of detail with the internet. My life is hella boring. I gotta be real. Or the stuff that's not hella boring is way too personal. But kind of my current thought is that, oh, poof, it's gone. That trail just flew off. I was trying to push it down and it just flew off into the ether. Sorry. What am I saying? I thought that I could talk about, like, what's going on in my D&D campaign. So, I know I've talked about one of my roommates before. Technically, I guess you would say I have 3 roommates, but it's 2 adults, and then they have a baby. So, so the 2 are married. One of them is my wife's cousin, and then the other one is his wife. And his wife she's the one that I've been doing diamond painting with. But then he himself, my wife's cousin, when they first, well, he is very into DnD, and he's been DMing DnD games for a long time. So when they first moved in, he was just about to start a new D&D campaign with his dad and brothers and one of his friends, and he was like, well, there's only 4 people in the campaign right now, like, would you guys be interested in joining? And me and my wife were like, well, yeah, of course. Because, okay, back when our toddler was a newborn, we had, one of my wife's friends was starting a D&D game. And we were invited to join it. But it was, at that friend's house. And, like, most weekends I was able to get my parents to watch our, at then, newborn. But there were some weeks when, like, they weren't able to, so we'd just bring our baby along. And, they were very young still. It was later in the evening that we'd do our games. Normally, like, I'd just leave them in their car seat at my feet. I have my eyes on them. It's not like because, like, you don't want to have a baby in a car seat unsupervised. But they'd just be chilling at my feet. They were not fussy. They weren't, like, I had my eye on them, but they were normally just kind of chill, would just look around. But whatever the case, I don't feel like they distracted from the game at all. But the DM was apparently not pleased that we were bringing them along. And again, like, we maybe only brought our kid there, like, once every other month or so. So, like, it was not every session that we were bringing him, but the DM didn't like it, and so was like, yeah, you guys can't come if you're gonna bring the kid. So that fell through, and kind of sucks. But now, like, first of all, our DM, my wife's cousin, like, they have their own baby. They're not gonna kick us out for having a baby. Second of all, it's because there are roommates, and he's the one who DMs, like, it's at our place. We don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to worry about packing, diapers or an extra change of clothes just in case, which is so much more convenient. But it's been fun, and, like, I've because 1, 2, 3, 7. I think I need new putty. That's what's happening, guys. My roommate, the one I diamond paint with, she ended up buying some of Art Dot's wax putty, which we've been using upstairs. Me and my wife live in the basement apartment, and then our roommates have, like, the top floor, but then, like, the main floor is, like, common use. Like, both of us, all of us use the main floor. But I keep some of my diamond painting down here in the basement. But then I also, because, like, when I'm diamond painting with my roommate, we do it on the main floor. And so I keep a different set of pens and wax and trays and stuff on the main floor. So we've been using, she bought the Art Dot putty wax, and I've been using that when I'm upstairs. And I don't like it in the single placer. It kept getting pulled out by my drills, and they're not AB drills, they're just regular drills, it kept pulling the wax out. But for the multiplacer, I do like it a lot. I like it. It makes that very satisfying, like, popping noise when you place drills down. And I haven't had to change it at all. We also haven't done a whole bunch of diamond painting together as of late. We've both been busy with other things. But yeah, I might end up buying my own, maybe. But also, I still have a ton of museum wax, and I'm perfectly happy with how the museum wax works. It doesn't make that satisfying clicking, popping noise, but that's what I'm used to currently, and I'm happy with how it works. K-L-N-O. But back to talking about DnD. But yeah, he was starting a new campaign anyway. He invited us to join. We were like, yes, of course. So we do DnD every Monday. And we normally start around 5 and then run till like 8:30, 9-ish. And we've had like, let's see, we started in like no, I think we started it at the start of November. So it's been several months. And I already knew like I'd already met, well, obviously, like, our roommates, they're our roommates. They became our roommates, and then they offered for us to join D&D. So obviously I already knew them. But I actually already knew them before they became our roommates. Funny story. One of mine and my wife's very first dates, like within the first, I think we'd only been dating for 3 weeks, and she took me to their wedding. So I've known this cousin and his wife for pretty much just as long as I've known my wife. And then because we're playing with the DM's 2 brothers, and I had also initially met them at the DM's wedding, so I've known them for a long time. I had not met the DM's dad before, but now I've met him. And then, other than my wife, we only have one other player who was just like one of his friends. But I don't know, he's fun. I like the energy he brings, like, and like obviously now I've gotten to know them a lot better. It's still like role playing is still a little like hard. Most of what we've been doing is it's been very combat heavy so far. It's a world that like the DM created himself. Kind of like sort of steampunky, but with less gears. You know, it's a pretty like common trope of like floating islands. Essentially, the like lore of the world is that there's a big war between a bunch of the gods, and all of the gods ended up like dying and killing each other off. So now there's no gods left in the world, other than like there's like a demigod who is like my player's patron, or my character's patron. And then there's who's referred to as this lady who's referred to as the Bright Queen, and she's kind of just like a monarch, like pseudo god status. Like I don't think she actually has any godly powers, but she is viewed like in that light, if that makes sense. I know that the DM had originally like based his world off of some of the stuff from Critical Role. I don't know, but like done his best to like change things and shift things, and that I don't know to what extent, because I haven't actually seen or listened to much of Critical Role. So if stuff sounds familiar, like that's why it, like, he's doing his best to like, I think he's trying to get as far from like Critical Role stuff as possible, but it's kind of a work in progress. We're kind of his guinea pigs for this campaign. But yeah, the huge war between a bunch of the gods, they all killed each other off, and then to like protect the, I guess, mankind itself, the main continent was raised up into the sky and shattered into a bunch of tiny floating islands. And so we have this little ship that we fly around, and a lot of what we've been doing and like stuck doing is like hunting monsters, which was not what the DM was expecting us to do. But like, there's the capital city where, like, you know, we can pick up quests and get lots of money for bringing back monsters and monster parts. And all of us are just like, ooh, money. Let's collect lots of money. Except now we kind of accidentally, because in addition, okay, I'm sorry, this is very rambly. There's like these kind of special islands that we have, like, when we find them, you know, there's like bigger monsters, we get special like magical equipment from them, and we normally learn like a little more about the lore. And in one of these islands, we were like in this library where we found out a lot more about the Bright Queen. And we found out that she has a son who, like, nobody knew that she had a son. Even, like, we have a paladin whose patron is the Bright Queen because she's a pseudo-god. And, like, he didn't even, like, he grew up in the capital. He's served the Bright Queen, like, was on her, like, guard, like, part of her guard for several years. And, like, even he, like, had no idea that she had this kid. But apparently this kid is kind of like he'd been really sick as a child. He got healed, but now he seems to be kind of going crazy, and so she's locked him up away from everybody because she's scared that he's going to, like, bring about the apocalypse. But then, like, we ended up finding a path that went under the library, and we found what we realized was her son's, like, room, and that he was a full-grown man now, but, like, the room still looked like a nursery. And I don't think I scanned that. But we realized that he was there as a full-grown man in this nursery, but, like, very, like, he seemed to be, like, drugged and out of it, and, like, the door was locked from the outside. But we ended up breaking down the door and essentially letting him loose into society, and then we ran off. But when we broke down the door, there was a guard posted outside that we killed. We stole his armor because he had super good armor. And then later, when traveling around, we ran into some other guards who were like, why do you have this armor? And we were like, and they're like, you realize that, like, one of our guards was just killed, like, in the main palace, and this was the exact same type of armor he had. And so then we tried to pin it on a different group, and they're like, okay, well, we're still going to investigate you. We'll go investigate this other group you mentioned, and then you aren't allowed to leave. So then we, like, because we docked our ship there, they're like, your ship is staying here. You're not allowed to take it. You're not allowed to leave. You have to stay until we figure this out. But then one of the other players has a, like, character in his backstory that he was able to contact, and, like, that character ended up coming to take us as stowaways on their ship to a distant place, but now we are very wanted within, like, the main area, and so I don't know what we're all gonna do next, because we kind of had just been bouncing between the capital and random other islands, killing monsters and doing those quests, but now, like, if we go back to the capital, we'd be arrested and killed very quickly. So it's been fun. I'm very excited to see, like, where that all goes. But anyways, I finished that section. I knew it would be relatively quick. Hopefully I can edit this to under half an hour. I think that should be doable. Or, like, close to it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I will have more D&D information next week.